Here we here we go. All right. So I am excited that you guys came here and we're talking about this subject of time mastery. Um, I was told a long time ago that time management is a bit of an illusion. Um, Tough to manage time. It's almost like jello slipping through our fingers. Brooke, we talk a lot about time. Whitney, we've talked a lot about time. That kind of sums it up some days, right? Just going for it. And sometimes it's the all elusive thing that keeps us on our toes for sure. And I just want to talk about it today. There's some things I've learned that I'm guessing some of you have seen or experienced. Maybe we've talked about it, but maybe not this way. And what I wanted to share and talk about is 5 things that I think we can put together and create your version of time management mastery or time mastery. Let's do that. We can't even manage the time where it's an elusive thing. As I said, we manage the activities and what we do during the time we have, right? That's really the management. So it's self-management mastery is what this really should be titled. So there's some things I've learned. I want to ask you guys some questions. So Whitney, if you have to be off camera, cool. If you can jump on, that would be helpful. Guys, just so you know, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to share my slides with you guys. I'm going to try to go 20 to 30 minutes, maybe 35. Interrupt me, or we can talk at the end. But I have a number of slides, and I want to get through all the points with you. Here's my goal. I want to set up an effective planning for you. I want to help you set up an effective planning system. I want you to maybe learn some tools to help you stay organized. I want to help improve our focus and is anybody ever distracted? Anybody have diagnosed or self-diagnosed ADHD? Either way is okay. You're amongst friends and loved ones, right? We're all in that mix one way or another. Carolyn, hello. I just saw you sneak in. Um, Man, let's work on a few things that might help improve our focus and minimizing the distractions. I think that's important. Well, and help gain some tips for managing team tasks maybe more efficiently, understanding how to balance work and personal life, and maybe the fact that there is no balance. Haha. It's always out of balance one way or another, depending on where we are, and just being okay with that sometimes. We're going to talk about that and assist in making planning an enjoyable practice, right? But first, there's questions. So let's ask. Whitney, if you can participate, that's great. If not, I'm okay. On a scale of 1 to 5, show me how do you rate your current productivity? On a scale 1 to 5, are you a 5? Are you dominant? 0? Carolyn, 0 is not on my scale. Sorry. 0, 1. Okay. Struggle daily with productivity. Brooke, what's your number?
I would say typically I run at a 2. It's terrible. And then every once in a while I might kick butt at a 4 or 5.
Okay. Okay. I like that. But we're going to skip right over 3 at manage my task fairly well, I see. Okay. Okay. I love that. Levi, talk to me. We were talking a little bit about this. Where do you fall on this scale?
I would say 2.5.
2.5. I like that. That is a professional score right there, ladies, in case you were wondering. I like that. Okay, good. So I'm talking to the right crowd here. Let me ask this question. What's your big time management challenge? Is it priority? You can read them: prioritizing tasks, staying focused, managing all the unexpected things, balancing procrastination, or delaying tasks. What's your thing? Or is it something not here? Brooke, if you're
Mine-
talking, you're on mute.
Mine's motivation.
Staying motivated. Okay. Okay. That's good. That needs to be added to my list here. So does that add to number 5?
Yes. And
Yes.
3
And 3. Okay.
and 2.
All right. I will add motivation. Duly noted. Duly noted. Brooke, how about you?
Focus. I don't know how I just changed my background. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit of a shit show over here, but focus, minimizing distractions, and whatever the last one was, because I just got distracted by changing my background by accident.
Procrastination. How about that? Or delayed
Yes.
task? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Cool. Levi, 2.5.
It's gonna be 2 and 3.
2 and 3. Okay. Staying focused during the day and managing unexpected tasks. Whitney, can you chime in on this one?
I would say probably delayed tasks and procrastination for sure, number 5.
Just kicking the can down the road a bit.
Yep. Especially
Okay.
if it's something that I dread, like social media.
Okay. All right, cool. I like that. I agree with that. I can resonate with that. How about this one? How, Carolyn, we're going to start with you on this one. How often you're planning your week in advance?
I'm a I'm a strong 4.
Okay. Yeah. Hey guys, I'm teasing Carolyn because we've only been working on this one thing.
5 years?
5 years? Is it 5 years now? Okay, I was trying to be nice. Okay. This might be the best part of the talk, just you all realizing you're not alone with this, right, Brooke? Levi, right? We're talking some hugely strong, powerful women on this call with us, Levi, and we all are dealing with very similar things, huh? Yeah. Whitney, does anything like this speak to you? How often are you planning your whole week?
Um, I try to I'm pretty good about planning. Some things slip through the cracks. But I'm pretty good at keeping stuck to stay to my schedule.
Okay. All right, good. Good. Brooke, you want to add to anything here?
I'm pretty decent at planning the schedule for the week. I'm pretty sucky at sticking to the schedule for the week.
Got it. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. What goes
My biggest my biggest thing is I used to be like very strict to my schedule until I became an empty nester.
Ah, because everything had
It's
to fit
gone.
in between the kids.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's super
It
interesting.
just yeah, it just clicked.
Interesting. Okay. Huh. And that also coincides with the house. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
talking about it. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
super.
it was all at the same time.
Yeah, it was a triple whammy. Okay. All right. So how about this? How satisfied are you with your work-life balance right now, guys? As it is, don't change anything with your planning. How are you doing with this side of it right now? It's cool the way it is. I'm good. We're awesome, or something else.
I'm okay with my work life balance right now, honestly. I just need to fill the work time better, uh,
Same. Same.
Okay.
and with more actual work and less BS.
Okay. All right. I like that. I appreciate the honesty there as your coach. Okay.
I'm
Levi,
the same.
with work-life balance right now.
I would say I'm a 3.
Okay. All
I'm
right,
pretty
cool.
neutral.
Okay. Good. Good, good, good. Okay. Is there any 5s on this call? No? Okay, cool. We're loving our life. Last one, I think. How familiar are you with like time time fairy, time management tools, time blocking, the task boards, doing done boards? You guys are familiar with all these tools, right? Or not really? Okay. So I'm getting the fact with these looks like, yeah, we've heard it all. We do some of it, not a whole lot of it. I want to go over my 5 hacks that I think, not 5 hacks, the 5 pieces of this I think are really going to help. And this is a perfect time for us to get into this. Guys, I'm going to give them to you in no particular order. But I think all 5 of these work together. And Carolyn, I know you and I have talked about this. Levi, Brooke, Whitney, this will be new for you from me, I think. Brooke, we actually have talked about this now that I'm saying it out loud. Um, one way to start getting a little more dialed in and focused on the right now tasks. You all said, right, the now tasks, the putting more work in and less BS, Brooke, I think is how you so perfectly put it, is to plan the year out in advance of the important things in your life, right? One of the things I find every year when we business plan is we try to project numbers on with working 365 days. I'm not going to work 365 days this year. I guarantee you, y'all won't either. So I'd like you to know and have as many days off and travel and family and weekend days off as you would like, and then work your face off on the days that you're working, right? That's the idea. So the idea here is to pack your year with fun things, personal, family, then work, so you can visualize the available working days and all the days that you are not going to be working that you have to look forward to. Does that make sense? Carolyn, when was the last time you did this, by the way?
I just did November, December, and January.
Yes, you did. All right. It's time to do all the year. All the year. So here's what it looks like. I want to highlight the importance of reviewing goals and adjusting the plans. I want to suggest a monthly review of the progress on these big projects and quarterly adjustments. So we have to mark days in the calendar to assess the balance and workload. This is what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about here, and this could be a wall calendar. This is how I have it at home, but I thought I'd make a digital version of it for you guys. What we have here is I see personal days for me. I see business trips for me. I see business planning for me. I see monthly review time, and I have all my family time marked off. This isn't obviously all the specifics of where I'm going and what I'm doing. This is a visual representation of it all. And I realize that I am working 272 days this year based on this calendar. And I almost have 100 days off this year. Is that an okay work balance, guys? I didn't know that until I put this together. It's funny, I think 2 years ago I had 220 days that I was working. It was a great year, Brooke. We're doing a little bit more this year, and that's okay. Has anybody ever gone to this level of planning for yourself? Brooke, we've done something like this. Have you gone to this level, Whitney? Have you ever done anything like this for planning wise?
I'm not.
Okay, I implore you guys between now and the end of the year, put this together for yourself so you have the full vision of everything. This and these trips and reminders help us get through the day-to-day stuff and the small little hiccups and speed bumps and issues, and hopefully propel us to let's go do a little bit more. I'm going to England, London, and back with the family, right? I know the next 3 weeks are all out to make that happen. Carolyn Luke from Albany. She got to go, she sent her and her family to London to see an NFL game. Her and her husband went to Italy. It was an amazing trip. It was planned well in advance, and we knew we had to work our face off to get there. I have not had a chance to say that publicly. I hope I'm embarrassing the heck out of you. I am so proud of you, Carolyn. I just wanted everybody to know. How was the NFL in London, by the way?
Insane.
I bet. I bet.
Yeah, they like football over there too.
They have real football over there, but good. I'm glad.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But there was a lot of planning and there was a lot of visualizing and there was a lot of this going on. So I just want to use that as an example. I highly recommend this. It's a great visual. And if you want to have massive impact, Brooke, bring the kids involved. Get your husband involved. Get everybody involved. So when mom or dad or whoever is having those late weeks, those late nights, we remember why we're doing it for the family. You remember why you're doing it for the family too on the days you're not feeling it. And Brooke, it's time to go screw off or go to work. Hopefully things like this remind us, let's go get one more hour in before we go play, right? That's all. Does this make sense? Cool. Step one, planning. Any
Do
questions?
you hang, yes, do you hang the whole 12 months on your wall?
Yeah, this is up in my office at home on the back of the door.
Okay.
I
I do
mean-
it I do by 3 months, but maybe
Okay.
I should hang the whole thing up.
Perfectly fine, totally up to you. I have one of those large, and I didn't take a picture, but it's a large at a glance laminated calendar that looks like this,
Yep.
right? So I do this, I use my expo markers, my different colors, and we plan out what we're gonna do and we assign. I get the kids involved, my wife. This is really for me because I'm a nerd for this stuff, but they do get involved and know what we're up to. It holds me more accountable when they know what it's all about. I like that. Okay. Any other thoughts or questions on this one? Cool. All right. Number next. Okay. The do doing done board. Who has not heard of the do doing done board? It's okay if you haven't. Whitney, no? Okay. This is one of my favorite project management ideas ever. It's the best I've seen. Tom talks a lot about it from um, his mentor, Mike Vance, who shared this with the likes of Steve Jobs to start Apple. Jack Welch used this at GE. Mother Teresa used this with all of her work in philanthropy. And it's nothing more than a project management board for all the ideas. All the ideas. See, I know we're talking about schedule and I know we're talking about time. And I also know all of that has to do with mastery of the idea of what we're doing. And if we're clogged up and don't know what we're doing, what the priority is, but we have all these wonderful ideas, we get stuck in the calendar and don't do anything sometimes. So the do doing done board is perfect. And here's what we do. You set up a board with 3 columns, one do, one doing, one done. You can do it on the whiteboard, you can do it on the pegboard, you can do it digitally with any of these platforms. And the idea is getting all the ideas out of your head in a do column, all the crazy ideas. And you can color code them and prioritize them in the do column, but this is where all the ideas go. And then we do the doing column. So we take the priority number 1, 2, and maybe 3 maximum, and we bring them over to the do column as we're working through the projects. And the only way to move another task from the do column to the doing column is to get one of the doing done, move it in the done column so we can look back and celebrate our wins, see our progress, and now we can choose one more project or task from the do column to the doing column where we're focused once again on either 1, 2, or 3 tasks. Does that make sense? Pretty easy concept, right? Brooke, have you ever worked off a do, doing, done board?
I've set it up to work like that. I generally don't actually only move 3 things over. I start tinkering in all of it, never finish most of it. But I did this past week week before last, get everything in my due board. I tried to put at least in priority so that I could really move them to one to three things into the doing.
Beautiful, beautiful. I know it takes a while to get going. Unless we're just building a project and moving on, this could be an ongoing project management board without an end time or an end to it also, right? It's just how we handle the day-to-day, the big projects going on. How do you like getting back into it? Is it helping at all?
It is. I just have to prioritize the time that I have set aside, which is Monday afternoon, to work on these things and not let squirrels get in the way of the however much time I've set aside to do it. So last Monday I sat down and worked on it. Monday prior, got distracted with work and didn't get anything done that I wanted to get done. So I just have to remember that whatever is the fire at 2 o'clock in the afternoon is going to be the same fire at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and just block out that time and actually just stay focused, which was, number 2 on the list of the things that I don't do very well is stay focused.
There we
So,
go. Okay, so Brooke, check this out. I'm glad I asked. I'm glad you said. Couple tips. Daily reset. I know we have the weekly week cap and reprioritization. Make it part of the daily reset. If you're using it, are we set right now? Did I move the needle on anything? Does anything need to be rearranged here based on the work I did today? If you have too many days in a row of nothing being moved, there's a self conversation to have of what's the next thing to get this off and over here so I can bring the next task on. Sometimes a week goes by and we haven't touched it, and then it turns into 2 weeks, just like that. Right? So try a daily reset on it. If you're having trouble going weekly, and then as you get into that habit, you might be able to scale back again a little bit, but try it on a daily, see if that helps you stick with it a little bit more. And right, not a lot of time. I'm not talking 50 minutes. I'm talking 5 to 15 minutes at most. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? Any questions or thoughts?
5 to 15 minutes a day on your doing and done.
Max. I mean, the 5 minutes also could be a 30-second. This is where we are. I haven't moved anything done yet. This is going to be my next priority here, but we need to get this done. Nothing needs to be moved. What did that take? 10 seconds? It could be that little of a time too, but getting eyes on remembering the priorities, right, that you making sure that you are spending time on those priorities to move the ball forward every single day. That's the idea.
And how much time should we spend on those projects a day?
Well, that's going to depend entirely on the project itself.
Okay.
Right? That's gonna, are we doing the Christmas mailer? Well, as much time as you need to, because it's going to have an expiration date. Those calendars, well, you better get them out by this date or they're no good. Prospecting, well, that's ongoing and should be an hour to 3 hours, 1 to 5 days a week. Totally depends on the project itself. And we're not even there yet, but as we're talking about, Carolyn, you're making me think the time blocking concept. We need to get good at estimating the time that it takes to do stuff. It might mean sometimes we need to learn how to go a little faster, or simply be okay with scheduling more time and not trying to squeeze it all in 20 to 30 minutes. Something new that you've never done is going to take more time than things we're used to when we understand the pace. That's not a science. It's definitely an art.
I will say, I think where I have failed is I've tried to schedule too much time to get these things to, like, we're going to spend 4 hours, we're going to spend all day today just working on this. And that's not realistic to think that you're not going to have other things that come up. So really and truly, I think the shorter amount of time, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours max, is probably like better for me personally
Love that.
because I can just sit down and say, all right, I'm going to set my timer for an hour. And when an hour goes off, maybe 15 minutes to deal with fires, maybe come back for a little bit of time, or just be done and really just totally focus that 1 hour.
Yep, that's perfect. And Brooke, that's perfectly fine. And if you're finding that is a challenge, and you're not getting to other things or constantly succumbing to the interruptions of the other things, then yeah, get rid of 4 hour blocks of anything, even if it's the content, right? We're shooting videos. Do it in an hour or two block twice a month instead of a 4 hour block once a month. It's totally up to you, and that's what's beautiful about these tools. Get them, and time blocking being a tool, get in the habit, try it, see what works on for you. I know some people that won't produce content unless they carve out an entire half a day with 5 wardrobe changes and 3 location changes and the staff to get them to do it all, right? They will block off half a day to do it. So what works best for you is the best answer. And if it does work like that for you, that's wonderful. It doesn't matter how it works for anybody else. Don't even stress. This is something, I don't know if anybody else deals with this. Nobody cares. I care, you care, your family cares where you are. Outside of that, nobody cares how you do your calendar, when you do your calendar, what you're doing in your calendar. It's got to fit you, your life, your world, your family. So, Brooke, I think that's a big aha. No more 4 hour blocks of anything unless it's one of your events or something like that, right? That's that time. Okay, I want to keep going. Any other thoughts or questions on this, guys? Doing, door makes sense. It looks like this, right? Load up the to-do, 2, maybe 3 doings, and load up the dones. The dones are great. When we're having those days, did I lose Carolyn? I think I lost Carolyn.
No, I'm here.
There you are. On the days where the duns, you're not feeling it, the duns help. Seeing what you've done, knowing what you've accomplished. So that is one of the unspoken parts of this. This is why we leave the same board up and work off it. The duns remind you of where you've been, or it reminds you what you haven't done, right? And hopefully that inspires you to get some done. And then here, it could look like this too. Load up the do side. Here are my 3 only things that I'm working on, my major focuses. And again, load up the done. This is just an example of another way to do it. It doesn't have to be complicated. So it's number 2 on a system to keep things going. This is number 3. This one is huge. This is something I've been talking about a lot for years. This is something my buddy and friend Sharon talks about. He finally gave it a name, and I love it. The review preview process. To set up the perfect day, we've got to look at our schedule daily. And there's daily prep after the weekly prep. But man, weekly planning, you guys do this. Do you get in the habit of reviewing the last 7 days before you plan the next 7 or 14? And if not, I highly recommend you start adding that to the process. Just seeing what went well, what could have been improved, whether it's conversations or appointments or transactions, system wise through the process, where we have those miscommunications or lack of communication, what could have been done differently to make it a little better and smoother, just looking back on everything. And my favorite, what promises need to be fulfilled, right? To yourself, to a client, to a colleague, to your coach. What haven't I done that I said I would do? Let's make that a priority or eliminate it, right? Step 2's preview in the next week or 2 weeks. Again, my buddy Sharon added on the second week, and I like that. Just preparing for calls, appointments, meetings, inspections, deadlines, what needs to be changed, what needs to be added to the agenda? Is there a significant other or somebody else in your life you need to be reviewing these things with to make sure that balance is intact for you? Um, Previewing the next week or two. One of the things that's not written here that I will say is we all can become better at anticipating. When we look at the next week or two, we can start anticipating needs that we'll have for that situation, for that meeting, for that client, that we can prep for in advance. And I know you all well enough. We're all agents. We do like to wait till the last minute, maybe delay, maybe procrastinate. This lets us get ahead of the curve with our thoughts and our planning for the week or two to come. Does anybody do this on a regular basis now? Okay, cool. Is that a hand, Whitney? No, I couldn't tell if that was a hand or a shoulder. Sorry. Okay. This adds into, oh, and 30 to 90 minutes on Sunday. That's my routine. You pick your Sunday. This bleeds right into the daily review because if I'm planning my week and I've looked back at the last week and really, guys, I'm not asking to analyze and pick apart every little thing, but overall, what went well, what could have been better, what did I learn, what are my unfulfilled promises I need to finish? I can do that with every day too. And if I'm reviewing today, what went right, what went wrong, what promises need to be fulfilled from the day, right? We go through our day, we're having conversations with each other, our family, our friends, our clients. Take 5 minutes and take it in. And what do I need to take the day to the next level? Is it okay? Or does something need to be done today I shouldn't put off to tomorrow, right? Reviewing tomorrow, tonight, man, you guys know, I mean, I sell real estate. I have a lot of you that I am in contact with too. I don't have my schedule memorized. I know a lot of it, but there's so much I don't know, last minute changes, things that come up, people that have different needs or schedules. So things change and I need to prepare differently. If I'm not doing that the night before, the morning of, and halfway through my day, I'm in trouble. What's that for you? How do you make sure you're dialed in with the things you have to and want to do for yourself and your business? The more we're looking at the schedule, more we're planning on it, the more you're probably going to execute on it. So make sure tomorrow is set up before you leave tonight. Okay? Make sense? Easy enough? Okay? The daily hiccups, prepare numbers and materials and notes. By the way, if you're going to walk in and prospect, like first thing in the morning, if that's kind of thing, or follow up, have all those numbers ready to go. You shouldn't come in and start prospecting by digging for the numbers. We equate prepping for prospecting with prospecting time, and that's not the same. So do your prep work the night before. You'll be happy. And the night before, if there's a lot to do, create your tomorrow to-do list tonight. So when you wake up, you already know it's simply following the list now. It's simply following the schedule. We don't have to respond to everything like a chicken with our head cut off. It is real estate. Sometimes that happens. It doesn't have to be all the time, every day, though. Okay. And last thought, consistent preparation leads to more confident, productive days. Amen. If I know and then I just walk through my schedule, let me ask you guys this. Hold on. I'm going to stop my share real quick. Have you ever had a day where you knew exactly what you were going to do? It was a work day, by the way. It wasn't going to Disney World. And you had it all laid out. And in the morning it went, and by the evening you went down the list, your schedule was followed. Has anybody ever had a day like that? Brooke, tell me about that day. Was that a good day or was that a horrible day?
Great day.
Freaking incredible day when that happens, right?
Yes.
Absolutely insane. And how often do we get in our own way not to follow our perfect schedule? Not to
Daily.
daily. Okay. So I guess the coaching question at that point, I got you, Joe, is when would now be a good time for this to be the last time? That's the reason why we don't have great days. Yes. Go for it, Joe.
So I equate the schedule to grounding. So I really like when I go on vacation or I do something different, I feel like when I get back, I'm not grounded. Like nothing makes sense, nothing's organized, nothing's where it should be. I feel like I'm starting every task trying to figure out where I am and what I'm doing. And I think that's similar to like just being grounded in what's going on. And I am ADHD to a T, and I hate schedules and I hate organization because I need to be stimulated at all times. But at the end of the day, I am so ineffective when I'm not because I just don't. I have to start every task trying to figure out what makes sense.
Really good way to put it. And definitely make it colorful. Make your calendar colorful. I hope it's just not monocolor. I worry about my creatives and not using colors in your schedule because that becomes very boring. Yes. I am not nearly as creative as that man is, and my calendar is overstimulation with my colors. I need them. It's a great point, Joe. All right. Any other thoughts before we go on? Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to send these to you. We don't have to go over them all, but I have a list of questions to ask you. Looking through the end of the day, looking at your wins for the week, or looking back at the end of the week, what are your wins? What challenge were you faced with? How did you do this week with your time and your efficiency? Ask yourself some questions when you're reviewing through this. Take this time to really work on this, right? The time thing, the schedule thing, wherever you're not a 5 out of 5, wherever that is for you, walk yourself through it because we keep living these days, guys. Groundhog's Day is not what we signed up for, right? So we're looking to continue to grow and get better. So challenge yourselves with these questions on a daily and weekly basis. Add to those questions. Run my list through your version of chat. Find out what other good questions might be out there for you to engage with to make sure you're doing everything you can to get the most from the day. Okay. So all of this, I have one more. I got to share this with you. And I don't know if we're going to get through everything I have. We'll find out. Has anybody ever done a time study? Do you know what a time study is? Beautiful. Okay, right crowd. So time studies track how you spend time. And here's what it is. You track your time. You want to find out when you do a time study where my time leaks are. Right? If my day was a boat, where are the leaks, right, of the time? And one way to find out where all my time's going is obviously to look at your schedule. If your schedule that's detailed, you don't have to do this. I know most of you well enough, you probably need to do this. Track your time over a week, maybe two, up to you, in 15 to 30-minute blocks. And then at the end, we're going to classify the day, each task as red or green. Joe, this is a wonderful spin on the time study, right? I got this from guys. If you want a great book, thank you, Scott. Shout out to Scott. I know he'll be watching this. Buy Back Your Time. It's a fantastic book on time mastery, right? And everything we're talking about. I've done time studies. I've taught time studies. The classifying as red and green is such a great tool when you add it with assigning a 1 to 4, a dollar sign 1 to 4, based on how much value or cost a task has to you, right? So the higher value, the more dollar signs it has, the less value, obviously, the fewer dollar signs. Like, I don't know, installing lock boxes. Does anybody love installing lock boxes on your listings? That gives you joy and power and low value, but doesn't need to be done? Because watch this, when we identify these, we can identify the task to delegate from you. Red task, low dollar amount, but they have to be done. Right? Green amount, five dollar signs, green, meeting with my team one-on-one to make sure they're producing. Meeting with my clients for appointments, high dollar amount, green. When I can identify what I'm doing and put the green and red on it with the 1 to 4 value on it, you really get an idea of not only where your time's being spent, where the high dollar value activities are, and either delegate the others or eliminate them and keep as much time on the high dollar activities as you can. Make sense? Did I totally lose any of you? Thoughts, questions, concerns? Will anybody do this?
I'll chime in on that. Again, being ADHD, I would try to figure out 4 quadrants. So dollar wise, but also love. So I don't think there's anything wrong as a business owner doing things that are not necessarily the best use of your time, but that you love, because it's going to keep you engaged and it's going to keep you in tune with the business. So if
Beautiful.
you try to figure out a 4 quadrant system, as an example, if you want to shop at a flower shop, probably not your best use of time to be there at the counter doing the actual ringing up, but maybe that's what you love, is seeing the smiles on their faces. Well, that's going to keep you motivated, and it's going to keep you in tune with what they're doing, like what your customers are saying.
Yeah. I will actually, I love that idea. I think the green can be turned in just high value or high love, right? You can add that to it. And if it's not, it's low love, you can turn that red and still keep it 2. That's okay, right? Somebody else
Yeah.
can still do anything you don't love or is not valuable at all. Currency is not just, love is absolutely part of the prerequisite here for where we want to spend our time. No doubt about it. Any
Sure.
other thoughts or questions on a time study? And Joe, have you ever done this?
No, not officially. I mean, I've done
Okay.
it when I did take. I was sitting in a CE class one day, and I was bored out of my mind, and we're not allowed to have any.
Did Joe just freeze for everybody? All right, Joe, sorry, we lost you. So I'm going through this. I explained this. Does this make sense? Levi, does this help?
Yes, very much
I
so.
basically send out to them like all the questions that are going to be put into the agreement, especially for a listing, and then I can hand that to an assistant, and I don't have to touch the paperwork. A licensed assistant can take those answers, build the listing paperwork, and send it out. So sort of not in a day-to-day basis, but in a process basis.
Okay, sounds good. I have no idea what you're talking about. We lost the first minute of what you just said, Joe.
I was saying I was sitting in a CE class and I was bored out of my mind and we're not allowed to have any devices. So I wrote down, I said, okay, if a seller lead comes in, what is every step that has to happen in that seller lead, from contact through, appointments, all the way through listing, through showings, through contract, through settlement. And then I figured out which of those items I didn't need to do, and then I could hand off to somebody else, and the consumer wouldn't have a worse experience.
Oh,
So from
yes.
that, that's where I figured out to do the Google form, where I have them fill out everything that goes into a listing, and I don't have to touch the paperwork at all.
That's brilliant. So you just push one button, send that to the seller, and they give your assistant everything they need to do their job.
And it reduces my liability because now I have a record of what they said.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. Great streamline. Same idea here. This can be just done using something like this. Doesn't need to be super fancy at all. Time study. This one most people don't do, but I guarantee you when you do it, you'll have some big ahas. And I promise there's time gaps in all of our schedules that we're unaware of. So this is a
Got it.
special, yep.
Remember when we talked about having the inspector agent? And at that point in my business, how much that was going to do by having that agent handle the
Oh,
inspection?
yeah. That's right.
Huge.
At one point in Joe's career, guys, we decided that if we had somebody only manage his home inspection and negotiations with the amount of business that was on the table, I want to say it was plus $140,000 in your favor, Joe, are the numbers we were
It
talking
was.
about. Yeah. That was
It
a
was,
long
yep.
time ago, but yeah, great. Again, identifying where's the time gap. That's a big time gap. And when you see home inspection 3 hours show up in five times during 2 weeks of a study, you realize those things need to be rectified quickly. So, okay. So conclusion, here's what I got. We have the wall calendar, the doing done board, the weekly review, the daily prep, the time study. That system, those things make time mastery possible. Start with the time study. That's my triple dog dare to all of you today. The next steps, commit to implementing these practices over the next 30 days, not over the next 30 years. Just wanted to let that one sit for a second. Thank you for the smirk, Carolyn. I appreciate you. Okay, here's what you need, materials list. And guys, I will send this all to you. Wall calendar, color expo markers. And by the way, don't use sad, worn out markers. Go spend $12 and get you some new markers for your wall calendar. Have some fun with it. Make it bright. Make it exciting. Doing done board, Trello, whiteboard, corkboard. How are you going to do it? Sticky notes, index cards with pens. How are you going to keep track of it all? Time study materials, notebook, digital app, however you're going to keep track of things, red and green highlighters, $ stickies to label it. How nuts are you going to go with your time study? Weekly and daily planning supplies, pretty simple. You need a calendar. I'll mail you one if you need one. Just let me know. I'm just going to pick on you all day, Carolyn. That's with love. With love. Notepad for journaling each day. If you're going to journal at the end of each day, if you're going to end the day with prepping for tomorrow, have a system where you're collecting all the things, whether it's your numbers or your notes or your calendar, have something that collects it all. How do you implement it? Where do you put your 12-month calendar? Does it go up at home or at work? What are your colors for your calendar? Don't forget or remember, schedule your personal and family events first, then work. We all want that balance. Make sure the balance is leveled in the way that you want it to be from the beginning. Plan a quarterly check-in for the big picture adjustments. Your monthly review, put it in your calendar. Brooke, yes, schedule around it. Shrink the time you need to do it. Work faster, maybe, so you can do it all. Adjust upcoming months on the calendar as needed. One of the quotes I love that I learned a long time ago, be strict enough to have a schedule, be flexible enough to adjust it as required. Not as you're feeling, as required. That's for all of you. I'm not picking on any one of you with that one. All of us tend to lead how we're feeling. Remember how we're feeling when we set it up in the first place, and we're actually knowing that we can accomplish all the things. Hold on to that instead of doing something else other than following your calendar. Okay. We talked about the setup for that. We talked about the weekly review. Do we have time? Guys, stop me if you have any questions, but I didn't know where to put these 6, so they came in the end here. Do we all know the 80-20 principle? I'm going to give you, yeah, everybody does. I'll say it. If you don't, I'll remind you, 20% of your activities, maybe 5 to 10% of your activities are going to give you 80% or more of your results. All of this time study, zero in on those that you love to do and do it better than most, and do those things most of the time. That's the Pareto principle, right? You're going to get the most results from one or two things that you do more of those. The D, 4 Ds, filter for deciding what goes in your schedule. I did not invent this. I adopted it a long time ago. If you Google it, you'll find somebody who did it. But the 4 Ds, if it goes in my schedule, this is the quick thought process first. Can I delete it? That's the first D. Does it need to be done at all? The second D, can I delegate it? If it's got to be done, can somebody else do it? Nope, can't delete it. I can't delegate it. Can I delay it? I have to do it. Can I kick it down the road? Can I do it later? And no, if I can't, then fourth is do. Give yourself permission, put it in the schedule. But if I can delete it, if I can delegate it, or I can delay it, it doesn't need to go in the calendar now. Pretty simple, but hopefully that makes sense. Time blocking, I believe you all understand what time blocking means. And I said this earlier, get really good at setting time limits and staying on track. As you realize you're not as good as it, learn from it and adjust the time for it down the road. Beyond that, everything, hey Joe, everything goes in the schedule. If you want to get it done, it goes in the schedule. If you want to call back from me, make sure it's in my schedule. If you want it done by me, make sure I write it down. Everything goes in the schedule. We will forget. Big rocks go in. Most of you have seen this. Do most of you understand what this represents? Yes, I'm assuming everybody does. Whitney and Levi, I'm missing you. I think Whitney bailed. Okay, so I'm not going to go there. Put your big rocks in. And then lastly, when a good idea strikes, what the biggest problem is, we never act on it because we don't give it permission to show up somewhere we can do something with. Put it in your schedule. Give yourself permission to spend some time on it right away. Don't wait. When you're at the summit, when you're at the elite retreat in January and a good idea happens and you actually want to do something about it, it's not a thorn, a highlight, like you're going to do something about it. Put it in your schedule. Share that schedule calendar item with me. And now we have something in writing to work on immediately and time set aside to do it. You know what I mean? Put it in the schedule. It's how we get shit done. All right, I have 3 minutes. I'm out of points, thoughts, idea. Thank you. Questions, thoughts, ahas, ah shits. What's on your mind? Joe Bird.
One thing I do is I send myself an email when I have an idea or something that's not time sensitive, but I want to investigate it. And then I have a folder in my email that's a to be done folder. And basically, anytime there's downtime, I go to that, and I just periodically book time to go through that and clear stuff out.
That's
So
awesome.
it's like a non-urgent, got to get to it, investigate it kind of tab.
That's a great hack. I love that too. Love that. Carolyn, Brooke, anything before we get out of here?
Great call. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for being here. Levi, are we good? Any thoughts? Nope, it's that button right there. All right, you're off the hook, Levi. It's all good. Guys, I'll send this recording out, share with the teams. Thanks for being here. And this one.
Will you share the slides?
Yes, I will share the slides and the video with you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
other thoughts or questions, guys, on this or anything else? You know where to find me. Have a great week.
Thank you.
All right. Talk to you soon, guys.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.